Hello all and welcome back to my channel Meet CISO. I hope all of you are doing good. Today we are going to cover one of the amazing topic of cybersecurity, and that is security models. What security models mean is like security models help in governing data confidentiality, integrity, conflict of interest and prevention from military classification to real world transaction control. So today we are going to cover four main types of model. One is LaPadula, Biba, Clark Wilson, and Brewer Nash. Many of you might be confused what each of the model does and why there are different models. But after you complete this video, believe me, after you complete this video of just 10 minutes, these four models will be clarified to you for the lifetime. You don't have to ever come to this model to relearn it, and it will be in your brain forever. We will clear all the doubts. What is the meaning of Bella Padula, what it does, what is Biba, and everything. So let's start. First, we'll start with the Bella Padula. So, what is Bella Padula? Does is the main thing when you think about Bella Padula model is what you have to think is of confidentiality. So this model keeps the confidentiality first. So let's say there are three layers. Okay, uh, confidential, highly confidential, and internal. So data in internal is of less use or less, sorry, not less use, but it's not that secret. Then there is a confidential and there is highly confidential, or you can say strictly confidential. Many organizations speak strictly, many say highly confidential. So first property is no read up. So no read up is the first thing. Means let's say the clerk cannot read top secret files, right? Let's say if there is a bank and there is a clerk in it, the clerk will not have the right to see or read or view the top secret files, the account files, right? So that is no read up. Second is no write down. So no write down. That is a general can write classified info into a public folder, right? Let's say in the military, there is a high ranking officer, he has some classified data. He will not be able to, he should not be writing that classified data into the public folder, right? So that is no write down. And third is strong star property. So that means read and write at the same level. A secret user can only interact with the secret data. So I hope you understood. We start with the no read up, no write down, and strong star. So how it is confidential? Let's say there is a confidential file, the person who is having the lower access cannot access that particular file, and that's why we keep the information confidential. But when it comes to Biba, many people gets confused about what is the difference between Bella Podula and Biba. But how I remembered, I will give you the tip. So Biba is having I in it, and I stands for integrity. So when you speak about Biba, it is about integrity first. So what Biba says is no read down. So a financial auditor can rely on unverified records, right? So let's say we were talking about general should not write the data into the lower level files, right? Why? Because if there is some public information, right? Thinking from the other side, if there is some public information that the general, the higher level people should not rely on that unverified records, right? Uh, Again, a financial auditor, let's say there is some auditor he will not rely on unverified records. What he will say is, okay, show me the verified records, and then only I will rely on that, and I will do the finance audit on the basis of that. So that is no read down. The other thing is no write up. No write up is a trainee can't override the CFO financial report, right? So let's say there is some financial report, right? And then the financial report should not be written by the trainee, right? If the trainee writes the CFO financial report, will you rely on that financial report? No, because someone trainee has written it. So no write up. Okay. And the third one is invocation property. Yeah. So invocation property means, sorry, my bad. So invocation property means a low level process can't call a high level secure function, right? Processes may invoke functions at their own integrity level, preventing privilege escalations through calls. So I will summarize LaPadula and Biba for you. So how I remember this is, if you face any questions with respect to LaPadula and Biba, we will go with strictly confidential, confidential, and internal, right? So what I do is, whenever I face this, I just draw these four arrows like this: one, two, three, and four. Okay. So I read this four. What I do is I then cross it. Okay. Cross, cross, and cross. So I'll start with, I just have to remember this: R, W, R, and then W again. So no read up, no write down. That is for LaPadula. And for Biba, it is no read down and no write up. So RW, RW, arrow up, down, down, up. So if you just keep this diagram in your mind, yeah, sorry for the bad handwriting, but if you remember these four things, yeah, it will be helpful for you to understand and remember both LaPadula and Biba. So LaPadula is confidentiality first and Biba is integrity first. How LaPadula is doing confidentiality? Because no one can read the confidential data from the lower level. And integrity first is no one can read something at the down level, right? It should not, and it cannot write. No one from trainee level should write at the CFO financial report. So no one should write something up. So if someone cannot write something up, that means that they are maintaining the integrity. If someone at the lower level is writing some upper level of report, in that case, that is not an integrated report. So that's how it is. Let's go to the next one, and that is Clark-Wilson model. How what does the Clark-Wilson model does is, whenever you remember Clark-Wilson model, that is of separation of duty. That's the key word that you have to remember. How I did is, where does the Clark work? Clark work in the bank. And in bank, we have to strongly follow the separation of duties. So Clark-Wilson model is the man is means separation of duty. How does one? What does it mean is, let's say if the person wants to write something into the data item, constrained data item, or some confidential data item, the person cannot directly write it. If the person directly writes it, yeah, that's not possible. What he needs to do is, he needs to follow the process, and that particular process get verified. The integration of that particular thing is verified, and then once it is done, yeah, then only they can write the data. So they can never do any modifications on their own. They have to do it through two verification process. One person does it, second person verifies it, and then only the data can be written. So that is what the Clark-Wilson model is. Last is Brewer Nash model. Brewer Nash model is also called as Chinese wall model, and that is to avoid the conflicts. Take an example like a referee. Let's say in the football, if there is a referee, if he has picked a team, he cannot coach the rival team, right? There will be a conflict of interest. If the person is working for one bank, he cannot work for the other bank. That will be a conflict of interest, right? So let's say this works dynamically. Let's say there is the person who there is one user who has access company A, right? Who has access to company A. In that case, the conflict is detected, right? And block B data will be automatically blocked. So if the company access A data, let's say for B company, there is a B company, let's say, the access for that user will get automatically blocked to avoid conflict of interest. So that is called as a Brewer Nash model or Chinese wall model. Some people call it Chinese wall, some people call it as a Brewer Nash model. Lastly, you can compare all the models for you. So you can pause this video and go through the models for your better understanding. So there are four models as we discussed. Sorry. There are four models as we discussed, LaPadula, Biba, Clark-Wilson, and Brewer Nash. LaPadula is confidentiality, Biba, as I said, I, so it's integrity. Clark-Wilson is focusing on separation of duties, and Brewer Nash is on, or focus is on conflict of interest. As I said, no read up, no write down, no read down, no write up for LaPadula and Biba. This is Brewer Nash's dynamic access based on the history, as we discussed, right? Like if one person accesses some bank data from bank A, then the person should not be accessing the data from bank B, otherwise that will be a conflict of interest. You might be thinking why there are some different models and why we are using separate models and not a single model. So it depends on industry to industry. Some industry might be having confidentiality as their primary goal. Few industries having integrity as their primary goal. Some industries having separation of duty as their primary goal. And based on their particular security requirements, they choose the model. They might choose all models as per their need. They might choose the required models as per their need, right? And where this particular, what are the typical use cases? So in military and government classification, when it comes to classification, LaPadula is used, right? When there is a Biba, so there is a trusted system software integrity, where integrity comes into the place, Biba is followed, right? Banking is where the separation of duties must required. Consulting, finance, in finance sector, conflict of interest is need to be avoided, and that's why they were using Brewer Nash. Yeah. So LaPadula guards secret, Biba guards truth, Clark-Wilson guards process, and Nash guards fairness. Together, they form the backbone of secure system design, from defense to finance to enterprise IT. If you find this breakdown helpful, hit like, share it with your cybersecurity buddies, and subscribe for more security insights. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do let me know what else topics shall I take into consideration and create a video on. And have a nice day. Take care. Bye.